Good morning, everybody. I am off of mute. Look at that. Wonderful. Good morning. I'm just checking to make sure that we are actually live in the Facebook group and then we'll get going. Yes, we certainly are. Fantastic. Good morning, everybody. And thank you for joining me. If you're here live, would you mind dropping some kind of little love note down in the comments there to let me know that you're here? It also lets the Facebook algorithm rev up a little bit and let other members of the group know that that I'm doing a little training right now. And for anybody who was thinking, oh, I think I'd like to attend that one, because our topic today is to group or not to group. That is the question. Have you noticed how quite often when you're in business, themes come up, especially when you work with individuals one-to-one? Themes come up in the subjects from a perspective of what are the challenges that people are faced with. And one of the topics that seems to keep coming up this week for me is whether or not a person should create a group. And then once you have a group, how to actually get your members to engage with you. So if you don't know me, my name is Danielle, and I help female coaches and entrepreneurs to create consistent 10K months. Now, that being said, my primary strategy that I like to teach forward is actually using Facebook groups, but it's not the only way. It's only one of many possible strategies that you can use to create that consistent income. One of those ways is to have a business page and perhaps even have a sales page or an email list, those kinds of things. So what I want to dive into today is which one should you do? Because really they are suited to very different kinds of business models. And we'll talk a little bit today about what variables would go into that so that you can make a decision for yourself. Okay. All right. Oh, good morning, Tiffany. Nice to see you there. So let's get started right away if we can. I'm going to share my screen. As you know, sometimes I get a little bit technically challenged just because I have like 22 windows open. It's how my brain operates. And within my web browser, there's another 50. All righty. All right. So our subject today is to group or not to group. And if you see me looking over to the left, occasionally it is because I do want to check the comments. I'm one of those people that has the two screens. It's the only way to live, in my opinion. All righty. 1 second. Because of course, when you use presenter mode, you know, PowerPoint just likes you to specifically touch a specific spot. All right, so is a Facebook group strategy the right strategy for you? And as I just said, I am a fan of using Facebook groups. And I do teach that for the majority of people. However, I've recently come into connection with some people where I wouldn't suggest a Facebook group for them, in particular on one element of their business, but for another, perhaps we should. So that's why I wanted to talk about this topic today. So my number one reason for being a fan of using a Facebook group over sales pages, click funnels, complicated email lists, paid ads, it's free. That's my number one reason. It's free. And if you've had any conversation with me so far, you know that I will always look for the free option first, because I think that for most of us, when we are struggling to create a consistent income, the thought of having to allocate some of our very precious funds to a piece of marketing that we don't have 100% confidence in, and we're just not sure, that can be really scary. And the reason quite often those kinds of methods don't work is because we're not terribly clear on who we serve, what problem we solve, and what our strategy is. So I like to create strategies that are very, very focused and that they use one strategy at a time. I am completely against overcomplicating the way you attract business into your, attract leads into your business. I'm completely against that because you've probably heard the expression, remind me how it goes, Danielle, jack of all trades, master of none. Myself, I like to develop a little bit of mastery of something before I move on. I also find that when we overcomplicate things, when we try to stretch ourselves into too many things, that's when the overwhelm and the burnout come. And if you know this about me, you know I've burnt out twice in my life. So I do know what I'm speaking about when it comes to burnout, in the sense of what are the activities, behaviors, and thought patterns that we have that actually lead us down that road. So a Facebook group can be a great option for people who are new in business because it's free. Frankly, it's very easy to set up, and it's also really convenient. Most of us are already on social media in one form or another, so it's just a matter of just quickly jumping over into your own group to create a little bit of excitement, enthusiasm, and engagement. It's really a very simple strategy. I just want to quickly check, if I may, whether or not there's any comments. Hi, Hillary, so nice to see you as well. Facebook groups are the best, I agree. Okay, so moving on, let's talk a little bit about the pros and cons. And if you were in my decision-making course in March, then you know pros and cons is one of the very simple ways that I like to suggest that we use to move our way through the decision-making process with clients. But it also applies to your own business decision-making and whether or not you want to move forward with something. So let's look at the pros and cons side by side of each of these potential models. So something you may not know about Facebook groups and Facebook pages is that Facebook pages will actually show up in a Google search. So imagine part of your strategy is to include Google paid ads. It makes perfect sense that you would also have a Facebook page. It does not make perfect sense that you would have a group, because when you're talking about SEO and all the things that are Google, and I would say that Phyllis Winters is our, what would you call her, maven of all of that stuff. She's just a brilliant tech woman, and I rely on her quite heavily when it comes to understanding all things tech and automation. But Google searches, if you have a product-based business, for example, can be highly valuable. They are not always. So please know that there's a caution with that. Product-based businesses are not always best served by Google Ads. It really will depend on your model. And that's one of the ways that I help my clients, is to actually design a strategy that will utilize the best components, the optimal components for their strategy, so that they can figure out which ones of these different options, because there are tons of them, which options are best for you, for your business, for your lifestyle, for your goals, for what you want to achieve, for all of your non-negotiables. So if we'll just leave that there. Moving on back to these charts though, you will see hopefully that Facebook groups have a lot of benefits. In terms of functionality, they really do offer a lot of ability to customize, to tailor, to be unique, where a page does not. And some of the things that are really important as we think about what are my objectives in doing this, right? If I'm thinking about how often do I plan on posting, do I plan on encouraging user-generated content? You know, oh my gosh, so many different things, and we won't get into all of them. But one thing you may not realize is that if you have a business page instead of a Facebook group, your business page is not showing up in people's news feeds. And I believe it was in 2019, possibly 2020, when Zuckerberg changed all of that and made an announcement about it. It could have been right around the time actually that they changed to Meta. And no longer will Facebook page posts be given preference or priority in your news feed. Now it is the actual interactive, person to person, and that includes groups. Those are the things that are going to receive priority in your news feed. And now consider this. When we're in business and we're doing that business on Facebook, we're trying to develop this network, right? We're trying to grow our audience. And if I have many people in my connection set that have thousands of Facebook friends. Facebook only shows you the information, posts, and activity of people that you interact with. So if you have 5,000 people, are you specifically interacting with all 5,000 people? No. But if those people are also in your group, oh, now there's these 2 touch points. Oh, and if you also have been having DM conversation with them at all because you're developing this warm, loving relationship with people, again, Facebook is going to show you their information. So there's a benefit in having a Facebook group over a page simply from the perspective of free exposure. So that's a good one. Facebook groups are easy to find. There's an easy, quick link as soon as you press on groups up in the top bar. So that's easy to find. Finding a page again, though, not so easy. It's quite a circuitous route. I went looking for a page that I like to prove it to myself. Oh man, I had quite a journey. It took me 4 times as long to find the page. Unless I specifically knew I wanted to find that page, how likely am I to actually follow that trail if I'm a random person? I am more likely to go and look for whatever came up quickly. Convenience is a super important element in creating business online. The whole reason online businesses work is because of convenience. It's fast, it's cheap, it's convenient. That's the reason people shop online. Another reason would be user-generated content. So how do you want your community to go? Do you want to be the only person posting? Do you want to have control over it having just one voice, or do you want to create community? And I think I'm going to encourage you to want to create community. It is highly targeted. When you create a Facebook group, you specifically name it to attract the people you want, so that when they are doing keyword searches, they can find you easily. The name of my group, Female Coaches and Entrepreneurs Make Consistent 10K Months. There's no question about what we do in this group, or is there? Could it be clearer? You tell me. I'd love to hear in the comments whether or not you think I could actually be any clearer about what we do in this group, because that's an important element of creating a successful Facebook group. The other nice thing I love about the group compared to the page, and you should know that I have had pages in the past. We had a page for my husband's business, Soul Reflex, where we do Reiki and reflexology together. And when I had my store, Dopey Kid Originals, I also had a page, and I used it specifically to create announcements about upcoming classes and rosters and products that were coming in. Very one-sided conversation. Very, very one-sided conversation. So ask yourself this: do I want a two-sided conversation or a one-sided conversation? Do I want the people in my group to feel comfortable to be able to put up their own questions, their own content, their own posts? Do I want them interacting with one another where they are deepening whatever learning I'm providing to them? These are all questions that we would ask ourselves as we develop your strategy and determine whether or not a Facebook group is better for you or a page is better for you, okay? Oh, general audience is on there twice. Well, will you look at that? Oh, Danielle, you're not perfect. Whatever will you do? A Facebook group can be a little bit less easy to join unless you leave it as an open group. So an open group means that anybody can join, anybody can find it, anybody can be in there, and it's kind of a free-for-all, all right? A closed group, like I have, means that I have to actually approve members. And I'll be honest with you, I am selective, and I don't mean to make that sound snobby, even if it does. I am a little bit selective. I don't just let every Tom, Dick, or Harry in here. I actually do go and check out people's profiles to make sure that they are going to respect and honor the community guidelines. There's absolutely no crypto allowed in this group, none whatsoever. There's none of those kinds of spammy, well, we'll just call them spammy. You know the kinds I mean. I've already had to actually eject one person for it. So groups allow you to have greater control. You have no control over who likes your business page. And what that means is, because you are putting a post up, anybody has the opportunity to comment on it. So now imagine you have a disgruntled person where the situation is actually very one-sided, and they're saying that you've done something you haven't, or that you've been rude and you haven't, or your product is awful, even though it's actually wonderful and they didn't use it right, or, oh my gosh, I was in retail for so many years. I could come up with a million things that a customer can say about your product or service that's actually inaccurate. And now they go and they post that on there, and it's there for the public to see. You have a lot less control over that. Can you delete it? Yes. Can you hide it? Yes. But what about the people that already saw it in their news feed? So with a group, you can actually control whether or not people can put up posts automatically. with no rules in place like I have, because I encourage the community interaction. Same with commenting. You can actually stipulate some key words that if it includes that word, it's not allowed. If it has a link, it's not allowed. So there's a lot more control for you in determining what kind of messaging is shared when you're in a group compared to when you're on a page. I hope that made sense. I know I got a little bit off track there as I thought about all the different complaints that people could make. User insights, you do get user insights in both a group and a page. The challenge with groups, though, is that you do have to have achieved a certain number of members before you get those insights. But here's what I really love about it. I now know what percentage of people in our group, for example, are from the UK, what percentage are from the US, what percentage are from Australia. It helps me to know, when should I be doing my lives? When should I be doing my posts? I also know that 68 out of our 80 people are active on our group. And to me, that is the best part. The best part is that we are an active community engaging with all of the posts. So on a Facebook group, on a Facebook page, you don't have quite the same kinds of information. Yes, it's going to tell you some information about the demographics. The purpose of those insights, though, is actually not to tell you when to post, it's to tell you when and how to direct your paid ads. So can paid ads work? Absolutely they can, as long as you are targeting your audience and you really understand the nuances of the demographics. The demography of your group is vitally important when creating a successful Facebook ad. It's another thing I've been doing for about 15 years, is placing Facebook ads. Wow, more experience than I realized. I got a lot to offer, more than I thought I did. Look at me go. I'm just going to give myself a little pat on the back for that one. All right, so those are the differences. And as you can see, there's an awful lot more check marks under Facebook group than there are under Facebook page. But what if those specific check marks actually don't line up with how you do your business? So some of the key reasons to use a Facebook group is that it actually allows you to collect your target audience and have a direct conversation with them. Okay, it allows you to create that captive audience. And my favorite thing, my favorite reason that I like Facebook groups, and I hope you will agree that this has helped you to understand a little bit more about me, it's to develop know, like, and trust. That's what KLT is. It's know, like, and trust. So it allows you to speak directly to them in your own voice, not through a marketing voice, not when I see sponsored, I scroll on by. When I see a business page, I scroll on by. Because those things make me feel sold to. And this is the important thing to remember. People love to buy. Oh my gosh, we have a consumer spending problem because people love to buy, but we hate being sold to. So this is another beautiful thing about having a Facebook group instead of a business page. Business page is all about transactions. A Facebook group is all about support, right? So having this community can help you to develop that know, like, and trust, and even deepen it, so that that trust factor in particular becomes greater. Generally speaking, when you have a membership, they are much more loyal to you and much more loyal to your brand. It's just a fact. My favorite part about it, though, is that it creates raving fans. All right. These are some examples of posts that are not in my group, not even on my personal page. These are posts I've made in other groups where people from our community, people who have developed a know, like, and trust in me, have actually made comments on those other group posts that I did, telling those other communities about how much they know, like, and trust me. And you'll see that this one here, this girl will change your life. That one, I actually cried when I read that one. Thank you, Cheryl. I actually cried. There are certain words when I created my business that I said, I will know I am here when I hear things like life-changing, golden advice, I was drawn to you. These are things that I knew when I heard these. I am doing what I want to do. I am the success I wanted to be. So thank you all for all the support and love that you always show me. And thank you for showing me that what I do matters. I really appreciate that. Okay, next thing, that was just a little side. Thank you so much. The bottom line of it all, though, guys, it really is, and Carolyn believes that Facebook groups are absolutely a key. If you are looking to establish, I'm just going to move myself there. If you're looking to establish a brand or promote your business to a very large number of people, a Facebook page makes most sense. And the reason, again, is because of the way it shows up in a Google search. So that allows you to be much more general, have a much broader audience, but it's not about developing relationship in that case, right? That's about transactional selling. And if you missed the transactional versus consultative selling course or program or webinar or whatever, just drop a little hand up or say consultative or say webinar, maybe say webinar in the comments if you'd like me to send you a link to that particular webinar so you understand the difference between transactional and consultative. Consultative selling, though, is really about developing know, like, and trust and having a deeply meaningful relationship with your customer base so that they buy from you again and again and again. Transactional is definitely more, I have a product, here it is, do you want it? Great, give me your money, and off we go. More and more big ticket, not big box, but big ticket stores like Best Buy, Leon's, furniture stores, technology stores, audiovisual stores, they are much more moving away from transactional and much more into consultative selling because of that whole repeat business and raving fans who refer. So Facebook page, if you want to speak to a broad audience, if you are a store, if you are a product-based business, those are a good option unless you want to be able to speak to a unique audience. If you have a unique audience, let's imagine you have a great new piece of technology that is actually going to change the industry. Talk about changing lives. Non-invasive, non-chemical technology that's not going to cause any harm. In fact, it actually works using natural physical laws. Sounds great, right? If this thing is a healing machine, even better. Now, who's your audience with that, though? So you have an opportunity with a product like that. You could sell to medical professionals. There's one audience. You could sell to families. There's another audience. Now imagine it's completely risk-free. Imagine it's completely simple and easy to use. There may be children with disabilities that would be a good audience for that. So before we make the decision whether to do a page or whether to do the group, I think it's important that we niche down and understand specifically who we're dealing with, right? A confused mind will never buy. If you feel uncertain about niching down because you worry about excluding people, then I would definitely suggest that a Facebook page is the better idea rather than a Facebook group. A group requires nurturing. It requires ongoing communication. You have to be very open to spending more time in that arena. So depending on the business model that you want to pursue could mean that a page is actually the better option. A page works really, really well with email campaigns. A page works really, really well with Google Ads, Facebook ads, anything that you can do that is, again, very transactional. So doing a Facebook group, though, is highly beneficial for new businesses, people who are looking to establish an audience. I'm just going to see, was there any other after this? Because I know what I want to say after this. Let's see. Group strategies. Okay, let's come out of there. We're going to stop sharing the screen. Stop sharing the screen. For anybody who doesn't know this about me, I am goofy and I love to sing. Okay, so the intention then would be to figure out, what is my direction? Am I going to niche or am I going to try to play to a very general audience? That's the first question I want you to ask yourself if you are currently deciding, should I do a group? Should I do a page? Should I do an email? system? Should I do a ClickFunnels? What should I do? I know many people are hesitant to niche down. I know they are worried that they are excluding people. When we are in a service-based business, the frank truth is we do it typically because we want to help people. That's what service is. We are in service. And we worry that if we niche down, we're excluding the possibility of some people that we could help. Because, oh my God, I could help them. I could absolutely help them. I can help them all. Trust me, I know I can help them too. Oh, well, maybe not the same people, but I also understand that there are thousands of people that I can help. But if you haven't niched down, here are the things that I know to be true because I've been there. I wasn't niched, I was very general. And what I found was the most difficult was creating content. I didn't know who I was speaking to. So because I didn't know who I was speaking to, I didn't know what to say. And that made the job of actually creating content so much more difficult than it actually needed to be. Once I knew to whom I was speaking, and in my case, I'm speaking with female coaches and entrepreneurs who are not yet making consistent 10K months, but who want it, right? They are experiencing feast or famine in their business. They don't know from 1 month to the next whether or not they're going to have a deposit made. Those are the people that I'm working with, and I am specifically solving the problem of not having predictable income. That's me. That's what I do. Now that I know that, I tailor all of my messages specifically to messaging like, are you experiencing feast and famine? Do you want to have the predictable income just like you did when you were an employee without actually having a boss? Do you want, right? Like I have this messaging that I can do. I talk about building your sales skills. I talk about the importance of having a vision, creating a strategy, knowing your numbers. These are all related to developing a business plan, having a business, executing the business, drawing and attracting clients, serving those clients, and then turning those clients into repeat business who refer their friends and family. That's my model. Very, very simple. The challenge for most of us is not about saying, what do I want to do? It's knowing who do I want to serve. And deciding on whether you're going to do a Facebook group or whether you're going to do a page will very much be determined by who am I serving and how do I want to serve them. Does that make sense? Thanks, Carolyn. I'm so glad that you think that that's helpful advice. Niching down is absolutely the vital activity because it does help you to determine this one or this one, A or B, and then creating content. So here's the challenge with Facebook groups, as I mentioned earlier. With a Facebook page, if you're inactive for a long time, it's not really a big deal because, as I say, it's not coming up on the news feed. If you are inactive in a Facebook group, then what ends up happening is algorithm issues. You've got to take steps to actually overcome those challenges to get yourself back in front of people. So being a moderator or owning or an admin on a Facebook group, there is a time commitment that you will want to make. But now imagine that that time commitment is actually acting as your sales machine, right? So if you've got a ClickFunnels that is speaking to people, hopefully you've got a video on there, you've got an act now, then you've also got, here's the next, oh, if you like this, maybe you like this as well, and all the adding on. There's a whole process and a whole magic, we'll say, to ClickFunnels. Super easy program to use, by the way, if anybody's curious about that, super easy. But in a Facebook group, and that's a set it and forget it, right? Your only job then is to get people to follow your link, follow your link, follow your link. And the nice thing about an email sales funnel strategy is that you can actually get people purchasing right there off of that email, right? Fantastic. And if you've got a product, wonderful. If you have a moderately priced or a high ticket priced product or service that doesn't work as well, people want more information. Let's go back for a moment to this amazing piece of technology. Imagine you have a Facebook group and imagine you have expertise behind it that you can share that helps to credentialize. Yes, I like to make up words. That helps to credentialize you and create a sense of your expert opinion. Once you've developed this sense of expert opinion and you know who you're going to serve, and you start drawing and calling those people in, and they start bringing more of their friends and or other people that they may have in their network who are experiencing the same challenge, it actually opens you up to an opportunity to expand your offering. So imagine you have this product, and imagine you are a nutritionist, right? You've got this great product that's actually going to help the body to heal itself on a cellular level, on a DNA level, and you're a nutritionist. Now imagine how you can partner those two things together. And now it's not just about selling the actual product. Now it's about layering in your coaching services, because nutritionists help with so many different things, right? So now you've got that layer. And now imagine at a future time you add another. Now you're taking on a network marketing supplement line and you want to add that in there. Do you see how having a group allows you to continuously show your people the new offering you're making? And because you've been having conversation with people, not throwing advertising at them, do you see how that can actually help you to build, duplicate, scale, right? And keep going? That's one of the reasons that I love Facebook groups so much. That's definitely one of the reasons. If you don't know this about me, because I don't really typically promote it in this group, I actually do have a team in a network marketing company. I don't talk about that a whole heck of a lot because my model for using that and pursuing that is a little bit different than the standard as well. But do you see how if I wanted to introduce that here, now imagine I said, okay, imagine I decided I was going to change my niche and now I was going to serve holistic health. I'm going to change it. Holistic diet and nutrition coaches. I help them create consistent income using a combination program of, I don't know, I didn't really think this through. I should have thought it through before I started saying it. I'm sorry. But I was thinking I could potentially change things and now I could even layer those things in, right? So the whole point of having a group, though, is that it allows you to grow with your community and your community to grow with you. It creates loyalty. It creates raving fans. It creates raving fans who will not just buy from you, but they'll buy from you continuously. And they will also send their friends and families because they feel this know, like, and trust. Because being in your group allows you to establish expertise on your topic. That simple. It allows you to create that expertise that a business page doesn't necessarily. People don't go searching for business pages. They go searching for groups. So one of the other things I wanted to actually quickly touch on was Facebook groups are ideal for these particular kinds of businesses. Anything that's coaching or mentoring, absolutely. Anything service-based, anything where you are offering any kind of teaching or learning. Any of those, absolutely. Can you do it with a product lineup? Certainly you can. And it's a great way to continue to offer added value to people. And imagine thinking about, maybe my product can be used in more than 100 ways. I have a mouth rinse, for example, that I promote that is clean living, 100 uses for it, including disinfecting cow's udders. So you can layer on more by using a Facebook group that way. User-generated content. It takes the burden off of you from always being the one to come up with content. It keeps the community engaged, and yet you didn't have to do all of the work. We're on a page, it's a little bit different. You can set it up, but you open yourself up to some icky, I'm just going to call it icky kinds of posts that are difficult to control. We had an experience with my husband's Facebook page where because we allowed people to create content, it actually ended up getting hacked. And we won't even get into the negative influence on his brand as a result of that and what this hacker had put on. So that's fine. You can do a product lineup. And if you've got a product lineup that has the opportunity to expand, or imagine it's already a large product lineup, think about how having that captive audience on one. So clean living. lots of people are looking for clean, sustainable living as an example. So clean, sustainable living, if you have a product lineup, you can now continue to talk to the group about different elements and variables, and from time to time introduce a new product, showcase, do product demos. A customer group is a fantastic use of a Facebook group. All of the people that are purchasing your product, you put them all into one group. They then share stories with one another of their successes. Think about what that does. Now imagine you add people to the group that don't already use the products, but who have actually had conversation with you, expressed interest somewhere else, kind of went a little bit, show me more, but aren't ready to commit. Put those people in that group. All of the other people who are talking about their success with it, they actually create enthusiasm and excitement and motivation to go ahead and say yes. You could use it as a recruiting group. So if you are in network marketing, why not have a group where you can add people who might be interested in taking a look at the opportunity, and they're sharing stories. And then all of those people that do finally say yes, they get to create more excitement as well. You can showcase training in that group, right, for your specific team. So lots and lots of applications for using a Facebook group, and with very high functionality that Facebook has created in their groups. I just can't say enough good things. They really did put their money where their mouth was with the Facebook group functionality. A page, though, on the other hand, I would highly recommend those if you are a one-trick pony in terms of a product that you sell. You don't have any expertise or any other kind of service to back that up. I would definitely consider a page. If you have a brick and mortar location, I would 100%, absolutely, hands down, no group, do a page. And the reason is you can do e-commerce. So you can get reviews on that. You can have the e-commerce ability. People can make appointments with you. If you imagine you do nails you offer nail polish, and you also offer, hair and beauty supplies as well. But on the side, you might do eyebrow waxing and or do nails. They can book appointments with you. They can see the products. They can purchase on your page, right? It's very much a marketplace when you've got a Facebook page. And then, of course, information presentation that is not meant for feedback. So those would be the reasons. So I'm thinking, for example, a company like a Mattel, where they don't deal directly with consumers. They're not worrying about having an e-commerce element, but at the same time, they're also not interested in having an actual conversation necessarily, where they encourage others to create posts. I would say that they would also want a page rather than a group. So think about who you serve. That's another reason. So if you serve the consumer, I would use a business page. If you serve another business, I might be more inclined to do a group, depending on the kind of service, the kind of businesses that you serve. And as coaches, if we're a B2B kind of coach, as I'm a business coach, for example, then I would definitely say having a group is the better play than doing a page. I've now said group and page so many times, they're becoming almost interchangeable. As I speak, I can feel myself stumbling over that. And I try to only be on these for about a half an hour, and I think I've exceeded my time limit. So I am going to let you go. I'm just going to take one quick last look to see if there were any questions. No questions. Wonderful. I am going to be creating a small handout about the pros and cons of each. I'll just put that up in one of the guides for you. If you'd like more information about whether or not choosing a group or a Facebook page is the right strategy for you, if you need help creating the strategy, figuring out who your niche is, and then developing the business plan to go along with that, so that you know what you're doing from day to day, you know how you're spending your time, you understand what are the specific income producing activities that I'm doing that are going to help me to create those consistent 10K months. Let me know. Send me a message, and I would be happy to set up one of my alignment calls with you. As you may or may not know, the purpose of my alignment calls, more than anything, is for us to sit down and develop the strategy. Typically, people who reach out to me for an alignment call are not calling or getting on the call to find out whether they want to work with me. It's really more of, I want to work with you, and this is step one. Okay. All right then, guys. I hope that this has been useful to you. I hope that this has helped. And if it hasn't, I want you to leave me the question in the comments there, please, about what I should have answered for you. I try to be so thorough, but I know I can't possibly answer all the questions all the time, but I want to. So leave me a question in the comments if I didn't quite answer all of your questions, and we will see you again. Like I said, I'm trying to do this twice a week. Love to know what you'd love to hear next. Also drop me anything in the comments about what kinds of training you'd like to hear next. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. It is Thursday. Thursday is my last working day. I don't work on Fridays. So for me, this is the weekend. I hope you have a wonderful one, and we'll see you next week. Bye.